focuses. Let's see, Miss Artemis, if they are focused and they're listening, because we need to fill in the blank. We know myths are written to entertain, to explain a natural, or to teach a lesson. What are some myths that a character learns a lesson? And what are some myths we've read where the character learns a lesson? Solving, give me one. Arachne, give me another one. Michael? Bellerophon and the Chimera with Pegasus. Another one. Kiamana? Pandora and the box. Another one. Protus? Orpheus and Eurydice. Can anyone think of a folk tale where a character learns a lesson? Sinai? The green frogs. And a character that we learned about a lot in 3rd grade, Anansi the Spider. Before you're due now, I want you to think of all these characters you just listed and come up with some character traits that these characters were showing. Row leaders, get ready. Passing in 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm going to have to give the trident away already to one scholar who got started right away. Today is the 18th, filling out your name and date, coming up with at least 4 character traits that gets these characters in trouble. Read this and get started.
Oh, Miss Doshi, I'm seeing some scholars using words from our word wall. Really smart strategy.
Use one pencil. These two will start. You already got 4. Think of any more that you can come up with. Think about those characters we talked about. She was boasting. What are some traits that you can think of with something else? Self-control. We're going to go lightning fast. You need to track the trident so you know who to track. All right. Pencils down in 3. As long as you've got at least 1 trait, Cheyenne tracking the trident. In 2, 1, 0. I'm not going to say anything. You need to watch. Cosines, she said vain. Greedy. And last, I know there are a ton more. Give me one more. Humble. Being humble, we know, is the opposite of being vain, right? Did we meet any characters that got punished or got in trouble for being humble? We met a lot of characters who actually got in trouble for being the opposite of humble, right? Being too vain and boastful. One last trait, Kimana.
Proud. Arachne was proud.
Proud, being too proud, right? Having too much pride in yourself. So, Miss Ortiz, I'm going to give you this hard job because I can't choose. Okay. I bet you've got a lot of names in your head already.
I do.
All right, so go straight and talk. So, already on Friday, we practiced comparing myths and myths and folktales. Myths and folktales that teach a lesson. But today, we're not just going to compare how they're similar. We're going to decide which one does a better job, which one does a better job teaching that lesson. Which one does a better job teaching us the same lesson? So before we get started, I want you to do 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to quickly fill in your vocabulary words and practice them to yourself. Ready, set, go. Little star. The first word is loon. The first word is loon. The second word is hospitable. The word is hospitable. And the last word is mournful. The word is mournful. myth and a
Folk
a
tale.
myth and a
Folk
and we
tale.
need to decide which one does a better job, which one does a
Better job.
to teach the same.
Lesson.
So what are some questions smart readers ask themselves? We know in order to compare myths, we need to really focus on the characters. We need to focus on the
Characters.
We need to focus on the characters' what. What kind of evidence are we going to find in our stories? The characters' what, Dominique? So we need to think about how is the character?
Action.
How are the characters acting? What are they doing? How are the characters acting? After I look at their actions, that's going to help me come up with certain character what. Don't call it out. That's going to help me come up with certain what, Cheyenne? That's going to help me come up with character traits, right? What character traits are these characters showing, or are they not showing? I know Orpheus and the Green Frogs. How are they acting? How were both of those characters acting? We read these two stories on Friday. How were they both acting, Cronus?
They were both acting. They were both acting.
What are some things they were doing in that story?
They weren't listening.
They weren't listening. What else was?
They were also being, at the end they were being sad. Because I wanted to.
Well, they felt very sad because of their actions at the end. So they were not listening. They weren't following
Directions.
They weren't following directions. And which character virtue, we talked about this, did they not really show? Did they struggle to show? Which character virtue did they struggle to show? Stacy?
Love.
Well, we know they both really loved Eurydice and their mother, but by not following directions, which trait didn't they show? Poseidon? We know they lacked self-control. They did not see analogical sense. They were not able to show that self-control. So that's the character trait I'm thinking of. They were not able to show self-control. Next thing I need to think about, Fawaz already got to this point, is what happens in the end, and what's a fourth grade way of saying that? What was the outcome? What was the outcome? What happens in the end to these characters? Antoine, let's go. What was the outcome in Orpheus and Eurydice? What was the outcome in Orpheus and Eurydice? Minotaur?
The outcome was that Orpheus never got to see Eurydice.
He lost his wife, the person he loved the most in the world. What was the outcome in the Green Frogs? What was the outcome since they were not listening to their mother and following directions, Diamond?
Since they didn't follow directions when their mother died, they still made mistakes.
Yeah, they still continue to make those mistakes, and they lost their mother. She dies at the end, and we know that that makes them really sad. They lost someone important. So the last thing, this is new. This is something we're adding to decide which one is stronger. Put your finger on the next question. Which text has a more severe, or a more serious outcome? A more severe or serious outcome? Right? In which text is stronger or more effective in teaching the same lesson? Zeus is right with me. I didn't hear his noisy slant. He's showing me he is ready. He is focused. I'm going to give you 10 more seconds to finish up. So leaders, as soon as you are done, please pass down our new folktale that we will be reading today. So as soon as Diamond got her text, she started looking at it, she's previewing it, getting ready for our reading. Put your finger on the title in 3. Listen, please. I mean, I know Dr. Sis is doing an awesome job with that triangle, but I also see a lot of gods in here. I want to steal it from Miss Ortiz, I know it's going to be so hard to choose who those 5 points are going to.
I don't know if I can do it, Miss Doshi. I'm gonna need your help.
All right, I'm watching Miss Ortiz. I hope I can help you. Let's see. Put your finger in the air. Try to put your finger on the title. The Blind and the Loon. This is an Inuit folktale. This is a
Inuit folktale.
A good hunter, find the italics words, the introduction, put your finger on it so you're ready to go. A good hunter is a valuable
Person.
and is always expected to share whatever he brings
Home.
Being greedy and
Selfish.
is a terrible
Thing.
and those who behave that way often come to a bad
End.
as in this story. Give me a close-up if you know any characters in other books we've read who are greedy or selfish and come to bad endings for showing those traits. Give me another character you can think of, Sinai. Arachne. She's definitely selfish. She only thinks about herself. King Midas and the Golden Touch. And one more character. Bellerophon, right? We know he becomes very selfish by the end of that myth. Put your finger on that first sentence. We're going to read the first sentence together in a loud and proud voice. 1, 2, Sinai tracking, 3.
There was once a boy who was a great hunter.
Piamana.
The storage platforms around the igloo he shared with his stepmother and his sister were always filled with meat. His little sister loved him very much. His stepmother, though, was lazy. She did not like doing all the work of cleaning and skinning and preparing the meat from animals he brought back.
Freeze right there. Circle the 3 characters we have so far. Go. Nyla, circling. Kyla, let's go circling. See who are our 3 main characters? All right, paragraph number 2, loud and proud, Poseidon.
I must do something, she said to herself. So one night, when her stepson was sleeping, she took a piece of rotten wheel rubber and rubbed it on his eyes. Let him no longer able to see, she whispered. Let him no longer be able to see.
When the boy woke up the next morning, he was blind. What happened to the boy? See, a lot of scholars in this Ortiz showing that grit and optimism, their hands are up, even if they might not be 100% sure. What happened to the boy? Use the clues, it tells me, so I'm going to reread if I'm not sure. Joanna, what happened to the boy?
His stepmother took a piece of rotten rubber and rubbed it on the boy's eyes.
She rubbed it on his eyes, and that made him
Blind.
Now the boy's blind, he can't see. Let's see what happens. Ah, said his stepmother. Need an evil stepmother voice. Who can try it out? Aaliyah, give it a try.
His stepmother said. Now I'll have to take care of a blind child. Why is my life so hard? Because he was blind now blind, the boy could no longer hunt.
Stacy.
Soon the meat on their storage platforms was all gone. All they had to eat were the hairs and ground squirrels that the little sister could catch with snails.
The blind boy could not do anything but sit on his
Bed.
Shame.
His stepmother wanted to let him starve, but his little sister tried to take care of him. She brought food and water to him, but the stepmother only allowed her to give him dirty water and the toughest and smallest scraps of meat.
One day, they heard something scratching the wall of the
Igloo.
The word is igloo. What's the word?
Igloo.